Black culture is toxic. The black culture is toxic. We have produced a culture that is toxic. And let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the black home. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Any woman would love to be with Trump.
All right, listen, put your hand up if you would have sex with Donald Trump.
Women, they don't want to stay at home when you pull them. They just want flexible working hours and flexible working conditions like you have. And I think we should all advocate for that. It's not one or the other. But when you sit here and you go, you'll be more fulfilled doing this, then spend all your time doing that. We would love for you to leave the public eye and go focus on what makes you fulfilled.
Okay.
Jubilee's Surrounded series isn't really about debating. And never was. If you're unfamiliar with Jubilee, it's a very popular channel on YouTube that brings together groups of people with opposing views, conducts social experiments, modern dating games, and they also host Q&As with people their audience may find interesting. And according to Jubilee's founder, Jason Lee, they want to promote open dialogue and they want to show what discourse can and should look like. Perfectly understandable. And that's the standard I want to focus on here. What up? My name is Ty. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hype, like, and subscribe. It's free, and we're on a journey to 10K, so every little bit is appreciated. Let's get started. So about almost 2 years ago at this point, they created a series called Surrounded, which seems like an evolution of a different series they do called Middle Ground. Middle Ground will bring groups of people together that for the most part don't agree with each other, like flat earthers and scientists, in hopes to open dialogue between them and have them reach some sort of middle ground in the conversation, whatever that may be. The earth isn't flat. Please don't be stupid. With the Surrounded series, they take one person, usually someone very well known for what they believe in, and literally surround them with 20 to 25 people with viewpoints on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's genius, entertaining, it brings in views, but to me, it seems like it's less about the conversation being had and more about how viral the topic of discussion can go and who can get the last word in. And a lot of the time, the conversation looks like this.
Let me bring it back. Let me bring it back.
Selling black people in Africa.
That was not happening in the context.
And that's what I'm trying to say. I am speaking to you
so
as—
then stop.
Okay, could you please let somebody get in
I
a
did.
word
I
edgewise?
let you finish.
You're not. You
I
actually
did.
have not let anybody
I have.
finish. And like I said—
Have.
Okay, well, I'm seriously, I'm not going to be able to make a point if you keep interrupting me. Like, that's just, like we gotta—
No, you're stalling. You're stalling. Make your point. Was it patriotic?
Okay, dude.
Okay. Yes or no? Was that patriotic for you?
Okay.
Were you embarrassed?
Okay,
You have
I'm
family
not
that's in the
going to be
military?
able to give you a yes or no answer. I'm going to have to give you a fleshed out answer. I will address your point.
And other people who watch these debates feel the same way, with several complaints in the comments about guests not letting each other speak, which makes the show feel more like a competition for airtime rather than people trying to substantiate their claims or provide a counter argument to a claim. And a lot of the time, even though the guests that are surrounding the star of the show have little to no experience debating, they can still have interesting perspectives that blossom into something of substance. But when you're competing for airtime, talking over one another, and sometimes not even providing a counter argument to the claim, just rambling about some other shit, it defeats the whole purpose. And then Jubilee continues to pump fake us with a moderator that does absolutely nothing, just letting people have steel cage matches in front of her eyes. It's entertaining, but I've seen better mods than random Discord servers. I don't know how much they're paying her, but she's cashing out just sitting there, bruh. She might as well be reffing the World Cup. She may have done better, actually. Either mod or get off the screen, bro. Jubilee needs to create a better way for interactions to take place so that both people can actually have a two-sided conversation with minimal interruptions. Something needs to change there, and that seems to be a popular opinion amongst a lot of the viewers. Another thing that I wish they would get rid of is the stupid red flags each of the guests have. This is hands down the most frustrating part of the show for me, because sometimes I think they're just raising the flag just because. One of the guests will have a really good counterclaim that makes great sense, is presented effectively, and right as the debate starts going somewhere, they get voted off. Or when the main guest makes a better argument for their claim and provides better follow-ups for their thought process, the people in the circle get the other guest the hell up out of there. Fast, red flags everywhere. It becomes about not letting the main guest win. And speaking of winning, Jubilee already does some fact checking when someone makes a claim, but I think it'd be really cool for them to show who's been making the strongest and most correct claims throughout the debate, almost like a score sheet. just to verify the accuracy of what people are saying. Because as a viewer, we do subconsciously pick a side, and we want to see how well our ideas stack up against someone who may be opposed to them. And I love that for people like Officer Tatum, who love to say, that's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Well, and guess what?
That's not true.
Guess what he
That's not true.
That's not true. Within the United States,
that's not true.
From the same, the stars on the.
That's not true. No, that's not true.
And then, of course, you have the person that throws up the red flag as soon as the other guest sits down for no other reason than to try and get back in the debate chair. I think a grace period would help a lot for this, to give people a little bit of breathing room and let them settle into the conversation at the very least before they get kicked from the server. And then we have the people that just lack basic respect. Specifically in the Mehdi Hassan debate, there was a guest that told Mehdi, a legal citizen of the United States, to leave his country and that he'd be the first to go when mass deportations take place. A legal citizen.
Listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like. I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why?
I don't want you here.
Why?
Because you come here and say all this bullshit about how Americans are lazy.
Why?
You push your left-wing politics.
I never said Americans are lazy.
I don't know why you say this.
I never said Americans are lazy.
Yes, you are. You're saying we're going to do the jobs.
Pause. You've been voted out.
It's nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
You're going to have to go, bro.
Nice talking to you. You're going to have to go, bro, is what he said as I left, to an American citizen. Good to know where you stand on immigration. It's not about immigration, is it? That's what it's not about.
So that comment was obviously fueled by ignorance and bigotry. There were also a few things said in other videos as well that were just kind of cringe given the setting.
The Google phone you have in your pocket is because of all of the diversity we've had.
Pause.
Pleasure to meet you.
There's a lot of tension in the room now.
Is Ben Shapiro a dick? Yes. Is it worth using the only chance you have to debate him to call him a dick? Not really. To me, that takes away from your counter argument and makes it to where it's the main thing people remember about what you said, even though he probably needed to hear it. And this is another problem with the Surrounded series. There's only a tiny window of time to make your case, but it doesn't encourage you to use that time effectively. And this is where I feel that Jubilee is creating environments for this to take place, especially since there's pretty much no moderation. It's very click farmish, especially when we look at the social climate and guest choices. It's being optimized for conflict, which, I mean, it's YouTube. Damn near everybody wakes up and chooses violence on this platform. But they built a super effective entertainment format around what looks like a debate. But how the show functions might actually be working against what they're trying to accomplish. I wonder what would happen if you only had one opportunity to debate rather than getting to debate someone because you beat your peer to the debate chair.
Whoa! You know what?
Honestly, God, just for that, I forfeit. That's like some serious efforting right there. Well done.
I'll take
really
it.
well done.
Thank you.
Just one opportunity. Once you debate, you can no longer go up there. And this would also hopefully incentivize more people to actually get to the debate chair in the first place, because in a room of 20 people, there's always about 5 to 6 people that are just taking up chairs, not adding anything to the conversation except the flag. Just throwing things out there, throwing things at the wall. And I know Jubilee isn't trying to set these up as professional debates. And again, it is a cool idea, but the chaos of these debates is undermining the idea of creating meaningful dialogue. So much so that Tim Pool rage quit the debate when his back was against the wall. Not that I'm defending the guy whatsoever. It's just an example of where the show is at right now and how that format can break.
And when it doesn't happen,
do you want a soapbox? Do you want me to get you a soapbox?
It's really
I can leave.
easy.
You want me to
It's really
go?
easy to
You want me
do
leave?
what you do.
You want me to
It's
leave?
really easy to do what you do.
Literally
Stop
no
talking.
idea what you're
Stop
talking about.
talking.
You've not done any research,
mad.
and you've never
You're
used
mad.
Google.
You're
I've
mad.
never advocated for
I've used
ivermectin,
Google.
not once.
He's not gonna
In
stop
fact,
talking. You're gonna waste his
I've
time.
never used.
It's just unmonitored chaos. One person wants the other to stop talking, no claim is being addressed, and after about 2 minutes of arguing, the moderator finally steps in.
Never
Even
advocated
it's
for
you, 'cause
ivermectin.
you're getting paid by
In
other
fact,
countries.
I argued
You're
with
an
Joe
asset
Rogan
for our
on
foreign
his show.
adversaries, bro.
I
You're an
advocated on
asset
Joe
for our foreign
Rogan's show
adversaries.
against ivermectin.
David, can you please address the claim?
Regardless of whether Tim was right or wrong here, the format of these debates incentivize that breakdown in communication. And if it's Jubilee's goal to show us what discourse can and should look like, it's kind of missing the mark here. We can even talk about the overarching theme of the most recent debates. It's pretty much all political with the exception of a few sprinkled in. You have one liberal man versus 20 MAGA, Michael Knowles versus 25 LGBTQ activists, 1 black conservative versus 20 black liberals, 1 journalist versus 20 Trump supporters, 1 MAGA Republican versus 20 far-left Democrats, 1 Israeli versus 20 pro-Palestine activists. Very clickable debate themes. I understand why you have to play the YouTube game. We all do. But you can tell they're leaning into the controversy these topics can bring. I don't know, there's just so much more to life to discuss in my opinion, but at the end of the day, they're running a business, so I understand. I mean, videos like 1 vegan versus 20 meat eaters isn't gonna go up the same way as 1 conservative versus 20 liberal college students, you know? Bills need to be paid, and those types of videos seem to attract more attention, which is where the conflict arises. Because the things that make Surrounded a good YouTube series may also be the same things making it harder for Jubilee to achieve its goal. Now, I understand why the show is designed the way it is. It's hard to let everyone have a 5 to 10 minute uninterrupted conversation with some form of moderation. That video would be long as hell. The chaotic part of the show makes it entertaining, especially if you want someone to sit through an hour and a half of debating in the type of fast food content era that we're all tied up in, where everything needs to hold someone's attention for more than 5 seconds. But is this series actually doing what it set out to do is what I'm getting at. Do you think these exchanges are thoughtful or inflammatory? What do you think Jubilee is actually producing? Do you think the series is becoming more politically polarized as time goes on? Or maybe we're the problem? I mean, they're getting millions of views, so they're coming from somewhere. Jubilee is giving us exactly what we're looking for, right? We love watching people argue. If we didn't, reality TV as a genre probably wouldn't even exist as we know it today. The concept of putting a bunch of conflicting personalities in a room together to duke it out over something is prime time television. Jubilee just took a piece of that concept and adapted it to something digestible for YouTube in the form of a debate. We click because we want to see what happens when you put 20 people who disagree with someone in a room together. And if it's working, then why should Jubilee change that? And they probably shouldn't, because regardless of how I feel about the format of the show and whether it's good for debate or not, which I don't think it is, to be clear, they're not failing at what I personally think they're trying to do. At the core of it, they want to make entertaining videos that keep people engaged and keep people coming back. I think the issue is that we've been calling what they do debating, because Surrounded isn't really about debating, and it never was. Thanks for watching.